Hey guys, Darby here with Meme Coins Daily, and welcome back to the Meme Coin Fast Track Training, where I'm going to be fast tracking you from a complete beginner to making $100 a day or more with meme coins. Right, for those of you who have been following along with my videos, who have seen my previous videos, I really do hope you've been enjoying them, you've been finding value, and you've been taking action on the different things that we've done so far. Okay? And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Meme Coin Fast Track Training. If you want to learn about meme coins, you're definitely in the right place. Now, what I'm going to need for you guys is definitely go back and watch all the videos. I think so far this is episode number 6. This is going to be part 6. So do go back and watch 1 to 5. I did try to compress my videos so it doesn't get overwhelming. So do go back and watch them because we have been laying a foundation for what we're going to cover today. So there was going to be a link in the description that's going to take you to the playlist where you can go back and watch all the previous videos. Now, with that said, let's get on to today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about risk management and your portfolio sizing. How much should you be using to trade whenever you're about to take a trade? Also going to be talking to you about entry, right? How to find entry on a coin that you want. Because if you remember, I told you guys never to buy on the top, right? Never do top blasted. So yeah, today I want to talk to you about entry. Okay, where is the kind of like, where do you want to enter if you want to buy a coin? And then finally, I want to talk to you about finding your strategy. I'm going to be helping you with figuring out what your strategy is. Every trader has some type of strategy, right? And that's their edge. Okay, you're going to hear that that word used a lot, your edge. That really depends on the sort of person you are. So it's something that you kind of have to figure out on your own. So what I'm going to do in this video is just kind of give you some ideas that is going to help you figure that out. So let's get started with the video. So let's talk about your position sizing and risk management. If you remember, we started in the first part, I asked you to start with 2 Solanas. That's literally the minimum that I would recommend you start with. Now, we're not going to be using our entire 2 Solanas to trade. We have 1 Solana, which is stored in our bank, which is in our Phantom wallet. There's one stored away there. And then we have another one right here, okay, inside our Axiom wallet. So we have one which is like kept for a rainy day. And then we have another one right here, which is what we're going to use to trade. Okay, so this is our portfolio right now, portfolio size. We've got 1. Now, anytime we're going to take a trade, I'm not just going to use 1 Solana to trade, right? I'm not going to just go in with 1 Solana because that means I'm going to be using all of my money, right? And if it goes to 0, then that's it, game over. Now, instead, what we want to do is we want to break it down into little bits. Okay, we want to break it down into little bits. And the general rule of thumb is to use 10% of your portfolio for each trade. So meaning we're going to break this down into 10 lots. And this is exactly the reason why I said you should start with a minimum of 2 Solanas, because we've got 1 here, right? If we go any lower, then there's no point. Let's say we're using 0.05 to trade. There's really no point because you're just going to get the fees is just going to eat up all your profits. The lowest you want to go is 0.1. Now, if you do have like, I don't know, if you've got like 10 Solanas to trade with, then good. Then you can use 10% of that, which is 1 Solana. but the absolute minimum, I would say, is 0.1. So let's go ahead and set that up right now. Now, the really cool thing about Axiom is when you come to trade, right, in this trading window, you can go either here, right, here and say, hey, I want to trade with 0.1, and then you click buy, and then it will buy for you. And you can see they've got some presets here, so you can even set that up here. You can click on that here. You see what I did there? And then I'm just going to go and say 0.1, and then maybe we can have 0.25, and then 0.5, and then over here we want 1. So now anytime I want to trade, I'll just click here and it will autofill. Or if I want 0.2, if I click there, okay, no, I have to click that first, then it's ready. Now if I do that, you'll see click. If I put 0.25, see it's changed by 0.25. If I go to 0.5, it will change. But we want to be doing 0.1, okay, see 0.1. Now the cool thing with Axiom also is you can have it over here. You see this little button here where it goes insert trade? So you can have this little button here, this little table here, and you can see that it's been pre-filled. Our presets are there already because we've set it up from here. So we got 0.1, 0.25, 0.5, and 1. Okay, so we're going to be using 0.1 to trade. Any trade we're taking, we're going to be using 0.1. So that way we are not using all of our money to trade, right? Instead of using one whole Solana to trade and then losing it, we have multiple chances to make money. In the next section now, we'll talk about risk management and cutting losses really quickly. So if you enter with 0.1 and you're kind of down, you can quickly sell so that you don't lose all the 0.1. So that's that about portfolio size. Now, one more thing I would like to do whilst we're here, which we haven't done yet, is we need to set up our gas fees. So this is to save us even more money. So what you want to do is you want to come all the way down here, click on presets, and this window is going to pop up. And this is our buy settings. So anytime we go to buy something, like how much fees are we paying? So first thing you want to do, you just want to change that to, you can leave that at 20%. And then this one here, you want to put an additional 2 zeros. So you have 4 zeros and 1. Okay. And then the bribe, you don't really need the bribe. That's only if you're going to be using MEF protection. For the type of trading we're doing, we don't need MEF protection because we're trading with 0.1. So you can leave that off and leave that as it is. Then you're also going to do the same with the sell settings. Come over to the sell settings. You can leave that as default 40 and then just put 2 zeros here as well. And that is your preset 1. Okay, and that's what we're going to be using. Now, if you come over here to InstaTrade panel, you can see that it's on P1, right? Which is the preset we just set. So those are your buy and sell settings. And you can see them even here as well. You can see the slippage, you can see the priority fee, and it even kind of tells you what is recommended. But trust me, guys, it still works with what we've put in there. And you can see the bribe, and you can see that MEF protection is turned off. Now you can also create some other presets. Maybe you want some type of preset where you want your fills to get really quickly, then you can increase it, something like that. You can increase your buy priority and so on. But for us who are just getting started as newbies, this is just fine, right? You're just you'll be able to save a lot on fees. So that is that about portfolio size. All right, guys, now I want to talk to you about entry and why we never want to top blast. So right now, let me just play the run book for what happens if you top blast, like if you buy at the top. So you see a coin and it's moving, right? Like this one here. And then because it's moving, you get that FOMO and then you just go and buy at the top. Now, what is going to happen is that the coin is going to go down. It's going to retrace. Look, just like what's happening now, which happens all the time. All coins retrace. And then when it retraces, then you're going to be down 40% like this. 40%. Look, it came from all the way from 27, now down to 13. And then here, just like this guy here, right, who bought and he sold, you're going to be down 50, 60%, and then you're going to get upset. You're going to get pissed, and then you're going to sell here, right? You're going to sell for a 50%, 60% loss, right? You put $100, now you're left with $40 and you've sold because you don't want to lose all your money. And then when you sell, what happens? The chart goes up. It goes up. And then now what's going to happen? You're going to be super pissed. You're going to even be more angry because you bought at the top, you sold for a loss, but the coin is still going. So that's really going to eat you up. And then it's going to make you start revenge trading, which is going to lead you to over trading, and which is going to cause you to lose all your money, right? Just like we spoke about in video 2, right? Or was it video 3? So that's why you never want to buy at the top. You never want to buy. You want to wait for a dip. Now, let's talk. Look at that. It's going now, right? So if you had waited, it's a perfect example. This is just a random chart that I chose. And look, it just happened. This guy bought at the top. He sold. But the people who waited for dips and bought are the ones that are in money right now. So it just proves why you never want to buy at the top. 90%, literally 90% of traders, this is what happens to them. This is what happened to me. That's why I know it so well. For over a year, I kept buying. I would see a coin going, it's going up, it's going up. And then I buy, and then it retraces, and then I'm pissed. Then I sell at a loss. And then when I sell, then the coin goes and leaves me. And then I get so angry. So I don't want this to happen to you guys. This is why I'm telling you. Now you can see it just played out in real time. This is live. I didn't think this would happen. I just picked a random coin, and this is, you can see it for yourself. Now let's talk about entry. What is the dip you should wait for? It depends, okay? It depends. And it depends on the narrative. It really does depend on the narrative, which is why I told you guys that narrative is really, really important, right? You need to learn about narrative. But obviously, since you're just getting started learning about narrative, you're not going to know a lot about narrative. It's like something you're going to have to work on, because the more you do it, the more you experience, right? You get more experience, and the more you know about narrative. So what do you do then? Generally, as a rule of thumb, you want to wait for at least a 50% dip before you buy any coin. And the reason we're doing that is because generally most coins, I'd say about 85% of coins, will dip 50%. Like they will dip at least 50%. Now, some of them that have a really good narrative, that the volume is just crazy on the chart and the chart is just moving, right, will not dip 50%. Okay, that's just the truth. It's not gonna dip 50%. It will just, at least it will even do like a 35% dip, and then it will keep going. So you want to wait for at least a 50% dip before you buy, because you're new and you don't understand narrative. So just wait for a 50% dip before you buy. Now, how can you tell, like, visually on screen when it's 50%? There are two ways you can do it, to be honest, right? You can either use, there's so much on here, right? If you want to clear the chart, you can just click this hide all bubbles and it will go away so we can look at the chart properly. So there are two ways you can do it. You can come on the right hand side here, which is much easier, and then right click on the chart here. If you right click, then you're going to see this option, this menu here, and then you want to go to labels, and then you want to come to low and high. I had it on. I can put it back on now, and then you'll see high and low. Click on that, and then now you can see the high and low prices. Then based on what the high price is, then you can just do the math and say, okay, 50% of the all-time high, which is 55K, will be around 25 or, about 28 or so. And as you can see here, if you look at the chart, like look where it got to. It actually got there, right? It got halfway. Do you see that, guys? I'm not making this stuff up. You see, it fell from the all-time high, it dropped all the way to 22K market cap. So it went below the half mark. And then you could have bought it there, right? And you could have been in profit. So you can see the evidence right here. That is the ideal, right? So since you're just starting out, you want to wait for a 50% dip at least. This is one way you can do it to see visual on the chart, like where's the 50%. You can use this labels that I showed you, or you can use the Fibonacci tool. And to get the tool, you just come over here, click this button here, and then you come right to the swing low, the lowest point on the chart, click on it, and then you're going to drag all the way to the top, the highest point, and then you click. And you can see the 0.5 was right there. So it even dropped below and then it went back up. So those are two different ways that you can find the 50% area, right? When it dips 50%. So you can use the fib retracement or the labels on the right-hand side of the chart. Now, what happens if the coin that you want to buy doesn't dip? So what do you do if it doesn't dip, right? You're sitting and you're waiting and you don't see that 50% dip or the dip you want to see. What happens? Well, it's simple. You just don't buy. You don't buy. That's it. That's literally the secret that I've figured out to being profitable with meme coins. If you don't see the dip you want, you just don't buy it. You just move on, because guess what? There's going to be another coin. There's going to be loads of coins, right? There's going to be loads of coins. Okay, there's going to be another one and another one. It's about being disciplined and waiting for a dip. That's literally it. If you don't see the dip you want, don't buy. Don't feel that FOMO that you have to buy this coin, because there's going to be another one and another one and another one and another one. So many coins. So always wait for a dip. Never feel that FOMO that, oh, I need to buy right now. And if you don't see the dip you want, don't buy. Just move on. Move on to another coin. It's either the coin migrates and you get tired of waiting, because sometimes the coin can go sideways. You get frustrated and then you just move on to the next coin. Okay, just move on. There's going to be another one and another one. Literally thousands of coins every day for you. Lots of opportunities to make money. All right, now let's talk about risk management and cutting losses. Let's say you waited for a dip, right? You waited for that 50% dip or 35%, whatever dip you disciplined enough to wait for. You waited for that dip and you thought it was a good narrative. And then you entered, okay? You took your entry, right? You took your entry when the chart is down 50%. Okay, let's say for instance. Now, it keeps going down. At what point do you cut your losses? This also depends on you, because this is all about risk appetite. Like, what is your risk? What are you willing to risk in order to make profit? For me personally, I'm prepared to go 40% down. I'm prepared to go 40% down. So if I buy a coin and I'm down 40%, I'm just going to sell. I'm not going to keep holding that coin saying, oh, it might retrace or whatever. I'm not. I'm just going to sell and then I move on to the next coin. That's it. And this is the kind of mindset you should have. You never want to hold a coin all the way like 80%, 90%, and then you're saying to yourself, no, it's going to go back up. No, you don't want to do that. You want to be able to cut losses really quickly. And this really depends on your risk appetite. So you want to cut losses really quickly, but also you kind of want to give the chart some time to breathe. You just want to give it from where you entered. You want to have a little bit of gap. So even if it goes down even a little bit more, then it could just retrace, right? So you just want to give it a gap. And that's why I'm prepared to wait 40%, right? If I see it going down, it could retrace before it gets to the 40% area. Okay, and if it doesn't, then I sell. So you want a little bit of leeway. You just don't want to, like, if it goes down 10% and then you're out. No, you want to give it some space, right? So I would say maybe like a 20%, 25%, anything higher than that, like from 20% upwards. It depends. It does depend on your risk appetite, but you should be able to give it some gap, right? That it goes down some more before it moves back. So I would say something from about 20% is okay, 25 and onwards. For me personally, I'm prepared to lose 40% in order to make some money. So you have to figure out what your risk appetite is, okay? I can't tell you what it is for you, but at least just make sure you give some room. Ideally, you want like 25%, 20%, something like that. Okay, now let's talk about strategies. And let's see if I can help you figure out what your edge is. because this really depends on the sort of person you are. I don't know who you are, so I'm just going to give you ideas on how you could perhaps come up with your own trading strategy. As you can see, there are different types of coins. We've already talked about narrative, but what I didn't tell you guys is, okay, how do you tell what type of coin this is, what type of coin that is, and so on and so forth? Well, you can tell from just little icons here. So there are three main types of coins. The first one you're going to see like this, right? This little emoji here. This is known as a profile coin. It's just basically a link to a Twitter profile. The next one you're going to see is a community coin. And it's usually this icon here that looks like two people next to each other. You can see that. So this means that this is community. A community has been created around this coin, whatever it is, around this narrative. And the final one is a tweet, just a tweet. And you'll see it like this little feather here, right? Those are the three types of coins you're going to come across when you start trading, right? When you start scanning. As a complete beginner, as you're just getting started, you want to absolutely stay away from the profile coins, okay? Like this little man here. You want to stay away. Stay far away from this type of coins. Why? Because this sort of coins often depends on the dev. It's usually maybe some type of project or an AI coin or something. And they just never last. They're just mostly LARPs, okay? They're mostly just doing that to launch a coin and scam. Now, not all of them, okay? Not all of them, but it does. You need to be a little bit advanced or intermediate level to figure out if this is a good dev or not. And that's why I'm telling you to just stay away from this type of coins. There's so many coins that you don't need to pick a profile coin. I mean, if we just look at the coins that have graduated, as you can see, they're mostly community, tweet, community, tweet, community. You can see there is hardly any profile coins. So don't risk it, guys. Don't risk it. Just stay away from the profile coins. Your priority should be community coins. Community, where there's a community created. You want to go check out the community and you want to make sure that the dev has posted the contract address in the banner. Okay, you want to see it up there. So like this one over, okay, there it is. They've posted it at least in here. You can see this person here has posted the contract address over there. But ideally, you want them to post it up here. That's where you want it to be. If we look at this one here, it's a community. We check it out. This one too hasn't posted it, but at least you can see that he's got some type of thesis here explaining what the coin is. And there is the contract address. So generally, you want to be sticking to the community coins. You want to be sticking to community coins. Now, we can go even deeper. Let's say you're someone who is on social media a lot. Maybe you are very good at spotting viral trends. Now, you can be that person who is able to spot viral trends, and maybe those are the only type of coins you're going to bid, or only like to buy animal coins, like myself. Or maybe you're that person that just understands lore, right? The lore of a narrative. You're able to figure that out, and then maybe those are the only types of coins that you buy. Maybe you're someone who is really good at investigating transactions. Maybe you're just really that damn good at figuring out transactions. You can be able to track devs, someone who is really good at tracking devs, because most devs, sometimes the really good devs, they tend to launch on fresh wallets. If you can track their funding source, then you'll know like when these guys are launching. And also maybe if you're able to find insiders and things like that, maybe that's your thing, right? Maybe that's your edge. So there are different things you can do, right? Different kinds of coins based on the narratives I spoke to you about. And you can pick just one of those, or maybe one or two, and just be that person that only buys those types of coins, because you definitely don't want to just be buying every coin you see. That's the fastest way to losing all of your money. For instance, personally, I love animal coins. You know, I've said it lots of times. Animals just tend to perform really well because it's very easy to understand, right? It's either it went viral or it's cute, and I can easily confirm it, right? If I go here, this is a beetle. This is probably something that has gone viral. If I click on there and wait for it to open, we can see that this is a little beetle. It's probably gone viral. I'm pretty sure it's gone viral somewhere. If I can find it. Normally there will be a link actually posted. Let's see, did they post a link? No, they didn't. But usually though, okay, let's take a look at this one here, this dog here. So let's see, there's a TikTok link there, and it's about this dog, and we can see it's got millions of views, and it just looks like an interesting dog with the way it looks. You can see that it's easy for me to confirm. I can easily confirm that. Now, if you're new to the crypto space, you're probably not going to understand certain crypto culture coins, right? So maybe you stay away from those things. Like basically you just want to stay away from what you don't understand and only stick to the coins you understand, right? That you can get confirmation. I've been trading meme coins now for over a year and I still don't understand certain narratives. And when those narratives come, even though it comes and the coin is running, I'm still not going to buy it because I don't understand it. I'm just going to wait for something that I understand, something I can confirm. And those are the kind of coins I will buy. And that's my personal strategy. So based on everything I just said now, so you can come up with your own strategy, right? You can, as I said, you can be the person who buys animals. You can be the person who buys only viral coins. Maybe you're the person who knows, you're just this on-chain wizard who knows how to track wallets, really good wallets, right? And just follow them to see what they're doing, and so on and so forth. That's how you come up with your own strategy. It's about picking one or two things and just sticking to it. All right, guys, this brings us to the end of today's video. Today, we talked about three things. I talked to you about sizing, told you that you need to be using 10% of your portfolio. And in our case, we have one Solana, we're going to be trading with 0.1. Now, if you have more Solanas to trade with, right, if you can afford more, maybe you've got 10, 50, whatever, then you use 10% of that. So if you've got 10, then you'll be using one Solana to trade. Now, I also talked to you about risk management and entry. So finding your ideal entry into coins. Personally, I told you guys that I like to see a 50% dip and I'm willing to lose 40%, right? So if it goes down 40% and it didn't retrace, then I sell. So you need to figure out what your ideal entry is and also how much you're prepared to lose, like what's your risk appetite. So the trick is you need to figure it out and make sure you stick to it. And this is where self-discipline comes in, okay? So you want to make sure that you stick to it no matter what. And then finally, I talked to you guys about having a strategy and staying away from certain type of coins, like the profile coins. You want to stay away from those type of coins. And maybe you want to just focus only on community coins. And even with community coins, you want to specialize. Maybe you only want to buy animal coins. Maybe you only want to buy viral trend coins, or maybe you're someone who understands lore, right? If you're someone that understands lore, or you're someone who just knows how to track wallets to see what they're buying. Maybe you're some on-chain guru. So it's all about finding what you're good at and sticking to that thing. So this brings us to the end of today's video. I really do hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe. Also, let me know if you have any questions. Just be sure to leave them down in the comment section and I'll go and answer every single question. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.